You know, it has been an active session. Someone asked me today, what legislative day are we on? I said, I think we're on the 31st. I mean, we've been down here, it seems like, for 4 months. It's been busy. As I mentioned earlier, I was very proud of the Airbus legislation, which we moved out of the Senate, which I think the House will give similar approval to. I think not only for what it does for Airbus, but also what it means going forward. At the end of the day, we laid out our arguments perfectly clear. Boeing has these exact same protections in the state of Washington that we're giving Airbus here in Alabama. We're not giving them any kind of unfair advantage. We're giving them a 12-year statute of repose plus a 2-year statute of limitations. The same thing that Boeing enjoys in the state of Washington. And I think what we're saying when we pass a bill like this, we're not saying that we're trying to give an unfair advantage to one company. We're not trying to bar the people of Alabama from having their day in court. What we're saying is we're going to be competitive, and the way to do that is to make sure that one state or one group around us doesn't have an unfair advantage. You realize if we don't pass this bill, that the current statute of repose on a company like Airbus, you know what it is? There isn't one. There isn't one. That means I could take an airplane from Airbus locating here. I could sell that airplane to Nigerian Airlines. And you know what? 30 years from now, they're still flying that plane crashes, Airbus could be held completely liable, 100%. No one can tell me that's a fair and just legal system, and I'll argue that every day of the week. I know the biggest one I think on the radar screen for you guys now is the one by Senator Beeson. I think it's SB 286. There's a couple things I know to be true. 3 things I know to be true. That is this: the sun will rise in the morning, the sun will set in the afternoon, and that bill will never make it in its current form out of the legislature. I think as an organization, you're taking the right approach. I think Billy and Anita are taking the right approach in that the question with regard to liability for the companies in this bill has got to be addressed before it can pass. I just don't see, unfortunately for Senator Beeson and others, and he'll be the first to admit this, I think they've grabbed about 30 different topics and put it under one bill. And unless they get it revised before we come up for a vote in the Senate, I don't see how it passes.
You know, the past couple of years, we've looked at a lot of legislation, obviously, with tort reform, and the way I look at it, it's an extension of economic development. When we pass legislation that provides a predictability in our judicial system, a predictability that you will be treated fairly as an individual or business when you come to the state, that incentivizes both existing businesses to stay put and invites other businesses to come to our state because they know they will get a fair shake. It puts us in a category different from some other states who haven't addressed these issues. And the reason we've been able to address these issues is because we've had the leadership from both the business community and the public leadership, our elected officials, who said, we're going to make sure that Alabama is in a higher tier when it comes to making sure that we are open for business.